recording. Yeah. And apologies to anyone watching or listening, because I have got the sniffles, and so do you have the sniffles.
A little bit.
Oh well, that's how it goes sometimes.
Nature takes its course.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
I don't know.
You just like saying things, I think. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the BARROW Podcast, the show where a self-hating boomer mum and her disgruntled boomerang son reunite to have the conversations they've long been avoiding, and where they utilize their combined insight into divorce, dysfunctional families, and mental illness to write a memoir together. I am the disgruntled millennial son, and beside me, as always, is my mother, Deborah. Hello, Mum.
Hi, Tobe. I don't know whether we were avoiding the conversations. I just don't think I was aware that there were conversations to be had. That's how lost I was.
Yeah, that's how fucking stupid you are.
Yes, exactly.
Correct. But hey, look, you know, it's good if it's better if you don't undermine the copy I've written, because that's the intro to this show, and we're sticking to it. So, you know, if you do that again, there'll be hell to pay. I can't fire you though, because
Guess what? You've always got me.
Yes, I can't get another mother. I've often fantasized, but oh well. What do you think about me showing my fat belly all over the internet? Because I've done that this week.
Well, on one hand, I'm thinking terrific, go for it. On the other hand, how many hands can you have? I think, oh, well, we've joined the world of social media.
Well,
and that's okay.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, you know, that is okay, I guess. I mean, one of the things that you can do is you can not go on social media. I mean, you don't have to. Well, nor do I really, but you aren't quite engaging to the level that I am or will be.
Yeah, I think.
You know.
I mean, I think that's an interesting point. You can sort of put things out there, but you still don't really have to engage.
Not necessarily. I mean, it's quite interesting. It's like there's this whole world going on this device in your pocket, but it's just the device in your pocket too.
Yeah, and you know, that goes for talking about sort of deeply personal things. We've been willing to share that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that is okay. You know, I've always said, like, as we were sort of coming in to do this, I was always like, well, you know, the people, you know, whoever they are, for whom this show is for, will hopefully find it or gravitate towards it, and those who won't, just won't. I mean, you'll always get people that have to say...
Comment on that
they don't like you. But that's kind of, I don't know why they have to say that, but they do. There's a compulsion to do it.
No, it's the same as the old, you know, television viewing. If you don't like something, instead of going on about it, you just turn it off. So in this case, if people find our journey, inverted commas, and how trying to analyse that interesting and pertinent to their own experience. That's terrific.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't,
yeah,
you know, you don't have to comment.
Yeah.
And you also don't have to dislike us. This is our story, our life.
It's interesting how people feel the need to dislike things vocally. You know, like I don't really have that. I mean,
but is that being encouraged by social media, having a platform to air that, or can't you just go and scream in the garden?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, a lot of people will say that social media and, you know, the online world is the cause for all these things. But if it so rapidly grew the second you were given social media, then it must have been there all along. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
In terms
that's
of
right.
like an instinct to do that.
Yeah.
And I think also it has to do with, social media and the online world is an avenue for doing it, but I don't think that's not the cause. The cause is something else. It's further back.
Yeah, but it's also the avenue to find other people who think the same. So whether that's screaming together or, you know, commenting in a positive way together, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring up, you know, showing my fat belly all over the internet is because...
I'm not going to look it up.
Okay, don't then, fine. That's on YouTube now. It is me addressing my feelings of body shame. And wow, what an introduction to the world of bodies and shame. Shame.
It's all about shame.
I think it is. Yeah. And last time we were talking about your transition from childhood into a sort of more adolescence, certainly your transition from primary to secondary school, and crying in the bathroom stalls, and how that evolved into really a lifetime of avoidance, in terms of opting out, in terms of retreating from social things. But you also mentioned in passing, I think, or maybe I did, that, you know, we were talking about gender as well, and I was thinking about dollies, and I was thinking about your mother treating you and then later me as kind of dollies and children as sort of props and playthings and all this sort of thing.
Yeah.
I have this burning image that you've given me now of you in what is it? It's so sorry. I'm gonna wet myself thinking
there's so
about
many images to refer to. Which one are you referring to?
There are so many images to refer to. The image I'm referring to right now is of you in some sort of orange.
Oh,
orange.
The orange leather faux leather.
Orange faux leather
with
oh my god.
with a fringe on the bottom. It's not just stop. Now there was always a problem when I was wearing a midi skirt. Now I'm probably mixing up ages now.
No, this was before that, I think. Or was it?
Yes, but this was a midi skirt, so I don't quite know how I'm wearing it.
Oh, okay.
That was my point.
Okay.
There was quite a discussion when the longer skirts came in. My mother was despairing. How could we go back to that? Mind you, at some point I'd worn mini skirts that were beyond the realm of decency. But no, this is early, Toby. I can't.
So
I can put a timeline on it because it's before we've built our home. We're still in the schoolhouse, so I'm walking up to Mass.
Yes.
On Sunday morning.
Yes.
And I think she'd found this glorious skirt.
Yes.
And it wasn't only the skirt, it was a long skirt, as I say, faux leather, but bright orange with fringes, with a fringe hemline. But I also distinctly remember the sort of, I think it was even a flannelette, orange blouse to wear with it. Now, not a plain orange. Now, you've got me not being able to verbalise this. Paisley pattern.
Oh, okay.
Paisley pattern with a cream background with orange paisley pattern on it. And I don't know whether that was coupled with. I did have a brown suede vest with a fringe hem. I don't know whether that was coupled with that, but I do distinctly remember going up to Mass one time. And this is interesting because this is way before the MIDI discussion.
Oh my
so
God.
The timelines are
if
all
you're
over
having
the
a
place.
tough time picturing it and you
and of
think
course
it's...
I've got long, rather fuzzy hair in an orange colour.
Oh boy. I mean, you sound like actual puke.
I don't know. I actually don't know how I felt about that. I think I felt that I stood out. I fear I did.
I think you were scarred for life.
But that was in the time when, I was going to Mass on my own, but I was in the back stalls. Probably my favourite seat. I always had a favourite seat. Always had to sit in the same place. And of course, in those days, I wasn't brave enough to receive communion, so I was going to Mass, but not being able to get up and walk down the aisle.
What a sight.
Wow.
What a sight. This fuzzy-headed child appearing in church and just sitting in the back stalls in
cowboy gear.
In cowboy gear.
Well, perhaps it was an extension of Annie Oakley. It really was. I should have had a hat. Cowboy hat.
Yeah, that sounds fucking crazy.
My mother used to find things for me to wear. I mean, stumble upon them and buy them.
What, just sort of, buy them.
Yeah.
I think you meant, I was just thinking about trash on the street and a pile of hard rubbish.
When I meant stumble upon them, she went shopping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's vivid. That's quite the look.
Yeah, I don't think you've heard about the other vivid one, and that was that was a checked mini skirt.
Checked mini.
Yes.
Do you mean like tartan?
No. This was sort of a whitish cream background with big green and navy lines making checks.
Sure.
But I used to wear it with a yellow blouse. It still disturbs me how that was quite hideous.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's just awful.
And did I just get up and choose these things? No, I don't think so.
No. No way. She would have dressed you. I look.
It would, yeah.
Look, I remember what it was like. Like, she dressed you. You know, she dressed. I'm saying that because she dressed me. By you, I mean she dressed the child. She always did.
Yeah.
And like, you would just be, you know, you'd sort of like appear. She'd materialize in the house near you at the time of dressing, and you'd sort of just mentally be like, all right, what are we in for today? What stupid fucking thing am I wearing today? Like,
did you really feel that?
yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like, what are we in for now? Like, and that feeling of, you know, obviously lack of agency, that powerlessness, sinking feeling that, you know, you get as a kid of like, oh my God, I am at the mercy of her derangement. I am at the mercy of whatever concoction of colours.
No, that's not fair. She did choose good things sometimes.
Sometimes, but the point is more the control. Like,
oh, absolutely. Until we started talking.
Yeah.
And until I started to put some of these things down on paper, I don't think I realised that. And yet they are the things I remember. So that's interesting in itself.
Right.
I'm remembering these moments, which are not very nice moments.
No, of course not. I mean, yeah. Embarrassment it's maybe the worst feeling you can have as a kid. It's one of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible.
Yeah. And sort of during that period, like, you know, going through adolescence, talking about sort of later now, I'm jumping ahead there, but trying to show a little bit of agency, a little bit of independence, that always gets taken away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In this area, I'm talking about clothing.
Yeah. No. I like, even like, she was one of those mothers that even when you were an adult, and even when I was an adult, like, she would, you know, she would touch you. Like, she would come over and just pull at things and grab you and all that sort of stuff, and you were like, what the fuck is going on here?
So there was, well, jumping right ahead then, in that context, there was praise for something that she really liked, which was more in the tailored field, the more simple field. If you'd gone out on a limb, as I did once, and I thought the dress was okay, and it was short, and not the usual tailored look. It was straight away pulled at and commented on. Oh, I wouldn't really wear that again.
Oh God. Yeah, horrible. I you know, the clothes horror is something that it's like with me to this day, and also but
it has other twists as well.
The sexualization stuff, you mean? Yeah, okay.
And again, I'm only seeing that now as
quite strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I said about the tailored look, and sure, that was always there, but there was sometimes there were things chosen that were maybe not appropriate for the age. So it's almost, wow, look at this object.
Look at this saucy piece. My daughter.
Yeah, I can think of 2 occasions like that, and
yeah,
probably more.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it would be lots more, but
Yeah.
two that stand out in my memory.
Yeah.
Again, another orange dress.
Oh, God. I don't know why she's insisting on putting him in orange. I don't think it's not flattering.
Yeah, so that's quite troubling, those incidents, which we might talk about in detail.
Yeah,
Later,
we can talk about them more sort of. So one of I guess the thing to pull out of this as well is that you mentioned you're going to church.
I'm always going to church.
But how old are you?
With the orange outfit, I'm 10. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think I was even going younger, dare I say.
And
because both houses are within walking distance. Like when we first moved to the big country town, and we're in the school education department house.
Yeah.
It's in walking distance to the little parish church.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we move, we build our own home. It's in the opposite direction, but about the same distance.
Yep.
Yeah, away. So, yes, I was probably walking to church as, that 8, 9, 10-year-old, 11-year-old.
Okay.
From one direction. And then right through my adolescence, I'm walking to church the other way. On my own. And when I'm older, I'm going very, very early to get home to do the piano practice, the homework.
Oh.
Yeah, when you always bring up these descriptions about how isolated and alone I was. Well, there you are.
Sounds a little odd.
Odd. It really is odd, isn't it?
It's a little odd. it's a touch strange.
Mind you, I'm meeting friends there.
Stop it.
They've usually got their family though.
Yeah, they're not there by themselves in an orange cowboy outfit.
No, they're not. No, that's true.
I'm usually meeting friends there. Oh my God.
I'm not sure. One of my friends was, I think she had family that were, what's the word? Lapsed.
Right.
That's definitely a Catholic reference, isn't it? If you're a lapsed Catholic, you're not going to Mass.
Yeah, I presumably people get that reference, I don't know. But, wow, I mean, it's just, I really...
And then I'm going on the tram into school and I'm spending a lot of time in the music house alone as well. Oh, dear.
Yeah, there's so much isolation, and I think that... it's taken so long.
For me to realise that.
Well, yes, but it's taken so long for us to get to the point where we can just talk about this, because any time I tried to sort of politely try to kind of get at religion and the influence of it in your life and just kind of suggest like, what's that all about? You could get quite defensive, and there were some
defensive. Yeah, maybe. See, I'm not even recalling that.
Do you
now.
remember the time you cried at the Railway Hotel when we were in the country, and it was just us, and I was trying to get you on religion, and you just...
Did I?
Yeah. Oh, that was like so tense. See, This is what I mean with
about
you.
you not trusting my memory.
Yeah, because you really do just try and block out some stuff at times where it's just like, that didn't happen. And I'm like,
No, I'm not doubting what you're
no,
saying.
I'm not saying that, but it's interesting to
Well,
me.
how interesting is that? How far have I come then? That's amazing.
Oh, like light years, leaps and bounds. It's incredible because religion was this kind of like, it was like the thing that you were most, you were the most entrenched, like down, like just so defensive of.
Yeah, but I think the defensiveness comes from a position of not having thought about it. It's just, it's like the family narrative, the family mantra. Oh, it's just what I did. It's just what I do. And quite honestly, I didn't really think about it.
You would get...
And also that belief, which you've unpicked for me, the belief that everyone's doing it, that everyone's got the same sort of struggle, whereas, you know, you do the stats and we're this tiny, tiny minority, and I'm a tiny, tiny minority now, actually, on occasion, still going to maths.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, you know, I grew up in a household where it was like, going to church, hey, that's what everybody does, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking like, that can't possibly be right. Like, because I went to a Catholic school and I'm like, but there are fewer Catholic schools than there are state schools. And then of the sort of Catholic education, sort of religious affiliated or private, I'm like, well, again, of those, the religious affiliated and private, like, there's grammar schools, there's all sorts of things.
Yeah, and you're also having that kind of education in a time when people were going to those schools because they thought they offered a better and a different kind of education, but they weren't.
They had nothing to do with religion.
They were not Catholic themselves. I mean, lots of non-Catholics now go to Catholic schools. So you're sort of in that era. And you're right. I probably was defensive because I mainly out of a non-understanding. Like, that's what my family does, and so that's what everyone does. And I know that not to be true because I had experiences working and in the staff room, and I certainly had plenty of people discussing religion in a derogatory kind of way, which probably led me more to be on the defensive.
Yeah, you found it really kind of confronting that people had those kind of negative feelings. And I mean, for me, it was never about sort of being negative. It was just simply about saying, don't you think that there has been a really major influence of this thing in your life that isn't like religion isn't natural, it's cultural. Like, it's a choice. Like, it's like the clothes you wear. Like, yeah, you could wear other clothes. Like, it isn't. The thing about culture is that it's the wallpaper, right? It's what you see when you think you're not looking at anything, but you are seeing it. And so on that level, it gets baked into you. So you think, this is part of my DNA, this is part of who I am. But but it's not. It's actually not. Like, if you were to extract yourself or take you and put you in, I don't know, like a Buddhist country or whatever, like, you'd be Buddhist. Like, you wouldn't be that thing has come to you and you've adopted it, and that's caused this integration. And so
because it hasn't been a choice. It hasn't been a choice because that's what you've grown up in.
Yes.
So you just accept it. I know there's other people that grow up in things and they don't accept it.
Yeah, sure. But what I guess what I'm trying to say is like all I was ever trying to do was just to get you to recognize it in isolation. Like it's not part of everything. Like because you would be like, oh, it's who I am, like this is who we are, this is just how it is. And I would be like, yeah, sure, okay, but just acknowledge that factor is, you know, it's an element, and
it puts you in a minority.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the other thing, is that this assumption that everything, I mean, I think most people just kind of grow up thinking that you're normalized to whatever the conditions of your life are. So you assume and you kind of project, you go, well, everybody's family life must be like mine kind of thing. Yeah. And then you see it until you see evidence that that's not true. Yeah. And then that throws you into whatever. But what I found strange was that, you know, your parents were old enough to have seen the world and were still insisting that this is how everybody lives or should live. Yes. And I'm going, but don't you see evidence all around you of the fact that that isn't the case?
That things have changed.
Yeah.
Or attitudes have changed. Yeah.
Yeah. And instead of kind of going along with that, or instead of embracing that, it just reinforced the us against the world mentality, which was like,
absolutely,
yeah, okay, less and less people are, like, for instance, coming to mass or whatever, and that just means more and more people are wrong, you know. And so that was kind of the takeaway, as opposed to questioning anything about yourself.
Yes.
And this it was never about me shitting on religion or getting people to leave the church. Yeah. It was simply about getting people to think.
Just to have a thought, actually.
Just to think. Yeah. Like, for God's sake, just have a think about it. You know, like, and consider yourself in context with the rest of society. Like, you are not the majority. You are not everyone, and not everyone is or should be like you.
That's right.
You know.
But add to that the bizarre nature of how I was just, as a little girl.
Well, this was kind of, and that's what I wanted.
Going on my own.
Well, that's what I wanted to get to, right? So, always with me and you and religion, it wasn't about church, leaving the church, hating the church, any of that stuff. It was about me saying, Deborah, for the love of God,
no pun
intended, for Christ's sake,
what are you doing?
Why are you doing? And to, like, what compels, and I always believed this was the crux of you, but, you know, in terms of writing a memoir, I'm like, so much of who you are and trying to get to the core of you, it all pivots on these phenomenons that I observe in you, which is what compels an 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, let me finish, to get up out of bed, put on an orange Annie Oakley inspired costume that her mother has lovingly procured for her, and walk alone in the morning cold to a church to attend mass alone.
And I'm a nervous child too. As I said, I wasn't I was too nervous to actually fully engage.
Yes.
I don't know. I still don't have the answer to that.
Because it is such truly outlier behaviour. It is such...
Yes, but in the sense that it's ritual, that it's set, it's what I do.
Yeah, but Deb,
I don't have to think about it.
But you're still doing this even now. So, like, your parents don't really introduce you to religion. Like, do they? Because they are lapsed initially. This is the weirdness here.
This is the weirdness. As a little girl, when we were living out of a little country town, we would go in, and that was the three of us, I believe.
Right.
We would go in for Sunday Mass, and then we would visit my dad's parents, my paternal grandparents, after Mass. That was the usual Sunday Mass ritual. That's what families did.
Mm-hmm.
But of course I had to go by car then. We all went together.
Yeah.
So when we shift to the big country centre, everything changes. That's interesting. It's my school experience. I can't answer that. They stop going. They go at Christmas, they go at Easter and things like that. I think maybe it's part of me going into the convent, so I'm getting that overlay from school. Yeah. So my adherence to religious practices really, I think, is in line with what I'm learning at school. Not the example my parents are setting.
No, of course not. But again, why are you attaching to it?
Well, I'm just that good little girl, that goody two-shoes.
No, that doesn't explain it either.
No,
I see. No. See, you've never provided to me a justifiable. It doesn't need to be justified.
Yeah,
but,
no, I know.
But you have never brought to me any insight on this that I find particularly persuasive or credible. Okay,
other than what I just said before, I follow habits. I get into habits. I'm habitual.
Yeah.
And that also provides what I said before too. It provides support. It's safe. It's safe to follow the same script. It's safe to continue to do the same things. So then every Sunday is the same.
Yeah.
And
other
than that.
Well, see that's
it's safety.
See, that's better. That's much better because
I can't explain it any other way.
Because I always like I was just saying that then, what causes you to attach? And I'm thinking as I'm saying it, I'm going, because for whatever reason you are someone who needs an attachment.
Absolutely.
And again, that's why I always used to pose this question, is because to my mind I'm like, it's not religion. No, it's not.
No, I agree with you.
And that's the kind of irony, but also the sadness of, it isn't about religion, and it's certainly not about Catholicism. You could have swapped out Catholicism with any organised religion, literally any.
Yeah, sure.
I think that you were someone who was positioned to need, as you say, ritual and attachment to routine. And it's really it's really more about examining that, like, what compels you to need this sort of external organizational thing, and you know, your relationship to religion is similar to your relationship to your parents, in that there's this sort of enmeshment of and it's about routine. It's about going back again and again to the same stuff.
It is.
Sitting in the same seat, going to the same cafe and ordering the same meal, calling your parents at 12 o'clock. Like, it's all about that.
It's all of that.
Yeah.
It's all of that, and it's really non-thinking. It's sort of a safety clause.
Yeah. Look, I avoid that. Like, and maybe this is just me being defensive of you. I don't know. But when you say it's about not thinking, I really disagree with that, because I don't think that you seek out not thinking. I think you seek out. You use the word safety, and I find that so interesting. Why do you need to feel safe, or why do you not feel safe?
Yeah, again, I can't explain that, but it's all around that. I go to a gym class and I stand in the same position, and I don't feel comfortable if I have to stand in another position.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you.
It's that visceral.
Yeah, I've seen you fret if you don't get your spot at, like, a cafe. You know, like, if you don't get the same chair, you turn into Jack Nicholson in As Good as It Gets.
I don't think it's that bad. But it is. No, but I'm describing, well, I use the word safety, but it's also comfort. I don't know.
But okay.
And then that goes to timing of things. Like, I prefer to do things in the morning. There's no spontaneity.
in case you
realised.
didn't join the dots.
And yet,
Deb's not the most spontaneous person.
And yet, that is at odds with my memory of my early childhood, when I had all that space to roam. See, I don't remember.
But you must
feeling like that.
Yeah, you might have felt safe. But see, yeah. Okay, so that's important, right? That's really important for the book, because I'm sort of I'm always trying to establish a timeline of, like, what went wrong.
Well,
no, but
it has its effects right till today.
Yeah, but this is the thing, is that what is it that causes, like, let's say it is a desire for safety. What caused, like, let's mean? No, but okay, what does it mean? But what caused you to feel unsafe or to need safety? What happened that sort of, you know, like, so many people would say with you that it's like a repressed memory about some trauma that you can't recall, to which I have often said, I don't think so. I think that's really silly. Like, people will do this thing where they will try to insert, like, their logic into someone else's life, and it's like, you can't do that, because you just don't. The chances are you just haven't met somebody who's as anxious or as nervous as, for instance, you are.
But
right?
But is it just this overzealous need for order?
Yeah, to cope. But why? But why? Like, why? Why do you not feel like things are ordered or whatever? I mean, like, look, you just do this to to eternity.
And use different words to describe it. What you just said, it's just highly anxious behaviour. Don't know.
Yeah, it's anxiousness to a degree that I've actually just never witnessed in anyone else. Like with you, and it's funny because it's like when we do this, you're actually very calm, and like, you know, we're filming something, we're recording something, and you're actually just kind of present, and that's why I think I've encouraged you lately, and certainly over time, it's like you need to do more things. Like, you're better when you're everybody's better when they're occupied, but like for your nervousness, like you have to keep exposing yourself to stuff, because your tendency is to shut down and avoid everything. And like when I came back to the house, it was like, this is someone who hasn't left the fucking house in years. Like, this is crazy.
COVID was glorious.
Yeah, it wasn't though. Like, you think, that's really good. It's so distressing. Yeah.
But I had a wonderful little daily plan. I was even playing the piano. I was exercising, playing the piano, time for the crosswords, time for the phone calls.
Oh, everything was organised.
It was ordered.
Yeah, but the house was falling apart.
True. And I don't really think I recognised that.
No, you didn't. And you were probably at your worst in terms of, sort of sensitivity and alarm. Like, you get really scared. Like, and it's so bizarre to me. Like, before you were on medication, like, you would hear everything, like just a little sound outside. What's that? Huh? You know, and I'm sort of like, what's going on?
That's interesting that you say that. And I can't identify how things have changed. In terms of, you just said about medication, and you said something earlier too.
This drives me so fucking crazy. I've got to be honest. This is like, you've really pissed me off now. Like, go on. Go, finish your point. This really annoys me, but I want you to finish your point. No, go on.
No, I mean in terms of, you often say that what medication has done. And I know it, but I don't sort of think about it. Oh, there's a sign. Oh.
There's hot air balloons.
I always
outside the
took
window.
that as a sign
Of goodness.
of calm and peace.
You like a hot air balloon? You've been in one.
I've been in several.
Several, yeah. It's, again, another contradiction. You're very nervous and afraid of heights, and yet would go up in a hot air balloon. I can't understand that at all.
They're just...
They're tranquil.
Yeah.
They're like elephants, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have that slowness, that old-fashionedness to them. You love elephants.
So
God. She likes elephants and hot air balloons. She's a special girl. No, but look, it really upsets me when you go, have things changed? You're sort of like, it's like you've conditioned yourself to ignore positive change. You only focus on, things are changing, it's happening to me, no, don't do it. And then the opposite of, like, you can change yourself, you can go out and you can do something and make a change, and it does work. That is just, it just doesn't even exist in your mind.
It's impossible, yeah.
And it's such bullshit, because I have seen you change. I have seen you actually do things for yourself and change. For yourself at my behest, like me screaming at you to do it. But nonetheless, there has been a change, and like prior to medication, you were
all over the place.
You were all over the place, but you were in a state of heightened alarm. It was like
high alert.
It was the cat with the ears way back, like just bouncing off the walls, ready to strike. Like, what's going on? No, there's a car outside. There's a car on the street. Oh, duh. And I'm going, this is crap. Like, I can't deal with it. I can't live here. This is so hard. And then also, for the record, the tantrums, like actually throwing fits and doing the usual shit that I cannot deal with, of taking your handbag, pouring out the contents on the floor and kicking all the contents across the room. Haven't done that in years.
I haven't done that for a long time.
No, you haven't done it in years.
I lost a really precious pen one day doing that.
Yeah.
It made me very sad afterwards.
Yeah, because we shouldn't be doing things like that.
No, and this was in public.
You've had so many public meltdowns, Mum. It's just not... I'm so... Well, we're getting off topic. I don't want to get into
right
this.
Off the topic.
I am so fucking traumatized from public meltdowns. I just... Oh, God. No. But you were doing that when I got home, the usual fits and tantrums. And I was just like, I can't live here. I can't do it. This is too much. And since medication... No tantrums, no fits, no throwing things, no kicking things, no... Oh well, that's enough. That's probably enough. Look. No, before we do finish up, I just want to go back to, and maybe it's just something to...
I should have had a tantrum with the orange outfit.
The orange outfit is the tantrum. Like, that is... bonkers. But anyway, I do just want to go back to this and just be really clear for the purposes of building what we're building here. It's like, Mum would get up at 9 and 10 and 11 years old and walk to mass alone in the mornings. Now, I'm not shitting on religion. I if you go to church, whatever, good for you. God bless. I think religion has big benefits. We know what the negatives are, but I do believe in the benefits. And, you know, as someone who grew up in the city in an urban environment, but also spent a lot of time in rural communities, I have seen what mass is like in a small town where everybody goes on a Sunday morning and they grab a bite to eat afterwards and go to a coffee shop. I think it's wonderful. It's actually really good. Community building practices, and it has its purpose. And certainly in years prior, when you were growing up, I also acknowledge that, you know, this was more commonplace, right? However, I still maintain, as you said, I used to go to church to hang out with my friends. Yeah, your friends were there with their families. They were not there alone, Deb. And they weren't getting up. They weren't getting up at night as 9-year-olds and walking over there. No. It is and unusual behaviour.
And then there's later adolescent getting up.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But
sure.
But I just want to clarify that and just say that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that. It's not me harping on about I can't believe you went to church.
No.
It's me singling out this thing. And I do believe that this window of time, this pre-teen into adolescence, and we'll get to it, but I really think that religion, I can hear the cat meowing on the other side of the door. I think religion and body stuff and clothes and your mother's influence, I think it's a really, cocktail of stuff.
Yeah, it really shaped me as a person.
Yeah. Is that a little Kingsley that wants to get in? Hello? Is that a little Kingsley boy? Come in, buddy. Hello? Hi. Come on. Oh, we've got the cat on the show, everyone. I'm just going to finish this up here and now. This is Kingsley, everyone. If you haven't seen him yet, or haven't been, if you come to the YouTube, you will see lots of Kingsley behaviour on the YouTube. So, oh God. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, if you're listening, thanks for listening. And we will see you next time. Do not forget that we're on Substack now. If you're listening to the audio only, Substack will be coming out through the week. Tomorrow we'll have a reading on the Substack following today's episode, related to today's episode. If you're watching the unedited video edition on YouTube, then tomorrow will be Sunday and there'll be a new episode of the Barrow Book Show coming out. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Wow.